Welcome back to Introduction to Symbolic Logic. This is Lecture 8. So we have talked about two ways of showing that an argument is valid. First, we have discussed truth tables and how you can use truth tables to establish the validity of arguments. And then we have discussed proofs and how you can prove a given conclusion from certain premises. Now, in this week, we are going to approach a number of meta-logical questions. So in particular, we are going to discuss the relationship between these two methods. So for example, one important question is it possible that a tautologically valid argument does not have a proof? Meaning, could it happen that we have a truth table that tells you that a given argument is valid, but we can't prove that argument? Another question is, can we prove arguments that are not tautologically valid? So in other words, can it happen that we have a proof that tells us that a specific argument is valid, but no corresponding truth table that would confirm this result? So these are some of the meta-logical questions that we are going to approach today. And to be able to fruitfully deal with these questions, we need a little more vocabulary. So we are actually going to start our discussion by introducing a few more formal concepts that are going to help us to make specific claims and ideas formally precise. So here's how we are going to proceed. We are first going to introduce the so-called double turnstile. Then we are going to introduce the so-called turnstile. And we are going to use these two new symbols to formulate two important properties of proof systems, namely soundness and completeness. And then we are going to turn to discussing how you may prove soundness. And as you will see, the proof of soundness is a so-called inductive proof. So we are first going to talk in general about what inductive proofs are, and then talk about the proof of soundness in particular. So what is the double turnstile? The double turnstile looks like this symbol there in the upper left corner. And it allows us to make claims about the tautological validity of arguments. So the sentence A1 to AN double turnstile C means that the argument from premises A1 to AN to conclusion C is tautologically valid. And that means that every valuation on which all of the premises A1 to AN are true is a valuation on which the conclusion C is true as well. So that means that if you look at the joint truth table for A1 to AN and C, then every row in the truth table where each of the sentences A1 to AN has a T under its main connective is also a row where C, the conclusion, has a T under its main connective. So you can see that an argument is tautologically valid by looking at its truth table. Now, we can also use the double turnstile to say that a sentence is a tautology. So you may recall that a tautology is a sentence that is true on every valuation. And when we say double turnstile C, with nothing to the left of the double turnstile, that means that C is a tautology. And as you may recall, the truth table of a tautology contains only T's in the column under its main connective. The next important concept is that of a tautological equivalence. You may recall that two sentences are tautologically equivalent if they have the same truth value on every valuation. So that means that the column under the main connectives of two tautologically equivalent sentences looks exactly the same. And we can express this property of being tautologically equivalent by means of the double turnstile. So if sentences A and B are tautologically equivalent, we can express this property by saying A double turnstile B and B double turnstile A. Now, the double turnstile is really importantly different from the arrow or the conditional that we have encountered earlier in this course. The double turnstile is a symbol in our meta-language, which is English augmented by certain formal symbols such as the double turnstile. Now we use the double turnstile to talk about TFL sentences. So for example, when I say A double turnstile B is true if and only if every valuation on which A is true is a valuation on which B is true, I'm making claims about the two TFL sentences A and B. And I do that by using the double turnstile. Now the arrow, or the conditional on the other hand, is a TFL symbol. So that means that we construct TFL sentences by using the arrow. So for example, I can say that the sentence A arrow B is true if and only if either A is true or B is false. And here the arrow is part of the sentence that I'm talking about. It is not a symbol that I use to talk about a TFL sentence. So in short, the double turnstile is part of our meta language and the arrow is part of our object language.